What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Chris, as always with me,
Liam.
And today we are diving into episode 4 of The Handmaid's Tale, the final season. Things are getting interesting. Now, if you're just tuning in for the first time, we're doing a pretty unique experiment with this one. I have never watched a single episode up until this season. Liam's watched everything so far. And so we're going to have unique perspectives on what we think is happening and ultimately what we think, the true motives of some of these characters may be. If you didn't catch our review of the first 3 episodes, you can actually check that out. We have a playlist for it. A lot of everyone who tuned in really enjoyed the fact that I was coming from it from a different perspective as you were. It's 2 different worlds colliding on a conversation. And many of you told me some of my theories were correct, some of the things aren't. And then ultimately when we're done, many of you have encouraged me to go read the book. So thank you all. And with all that in mind, this whole show is more of a conversation than it is us just preaching about something. So we really appreciate everybody tuning in, engaging in the comments. We hit over 30,000 subscribers yesterday, and it's all because of you guys checking it out and enjoying entertainment just as much as we do. So with all that being said, if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and do so. If you want behind the scenes access, early access, shout outs on videos, we have a Patreon. It's down in the description. But without further ado, let's talk about some Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, so what'd you think of it?
So it was a little bit slower this episode, but I also thought it was necessary because this is the first time I've seen June have to come to terms with the fact that she's not the only one who's dealing with a level of trauma that's now driving them on a mission. Mainly that being the relationship with her and her husband, where you notice that she's doing everything she can to protect him and put herself in danger, but he's also feeling this loss of control and almost powerlessness, right? Because he can't do anything to save his own daughter. And so I thought it was kind of an interesting thing to watch her progress throughout this episode, where in the beginning, all she wants is for her family to just leave and go to Alaska. And then she starts to think, okay, well, maybe there is no way that's going to happen. So let me just go do it myself. And that way I know I've already dealt with the worst shit. They don't have to deal with it. And then she realizes, oh, wait, they're not going to back off either. They really want to do this thing too. They're very involved. They have a lot at stake as well. And then kind of comes to terms at the end of the episode with being we're in this together. So I thought that was cool.
That's why I wanted to ask you first, because to me, June just being more of June.
Yeah, so I don't have that context, right?
That's why I made sure I ask you first.
So would you say then that she normally acts the way she did in this episode?
Yes.
Where she comes to terms with her actions, or was it more she's usually just the person who throws herself in danger?
She's a martyr.
Okay.
She's a martyr. She thinks she knows best. She doesn't trust anyone else to do what she thinks she can do, often at her own expense.
Well, most definitely at her own expense. Yeah, and I liked also that she touched on the fact that she's been doing this a while, and she's gotten really close to getting her daughter on multiple occasions, and it has not worked out. And when she was talking to her husband, she was just basically hey, you got to come to terms with the fact that we may not succeed. We may get all the way there and still not get her. And so I thought that was kind of, that part to me was the standout of June's part of the episode, was because there really wasn't much going on other than her coming to terms with the fact that she can't save the people who do not want to be saved, right? Because they are gung-ho on being a part of this rebellion. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. Also, I like that there's now a connection back with Janine, right? The one with the one eye, that's her name. I like that. I have a feeling that she's going to lead the rebellion inside while June comes in from the outside, and then they will ultimately kind of do some cool shit.
I'm struggling with that part because on one hand, Janine is this very, very weak personality in the earlier seasons.
Yeah.
She's gone through a lot of trauma where she's gotten very hardened to everything.
Right.
And now it seems like she's more callous than anything.
I think that's why they introduced now High Commander Lawrence giving her that photo. Because nothing's going to break a person's hard exterior like the love of their child. And so I think what you're going to see is that yeah, she's hardened. Yes, trauma has turned her into what she is. And so the only way to bounce back from that would be unconditional love. And so I think that's why they're introducing the fact that hey, your daughter's good. You might not have her in your life, but she's good. She's being raised well. here's actually some photo evidence of that, even though they don't have like photos, like a picture, right? That she drew. I think that's going to be that. And then June coming back for her and showing her that sisterly love are going to be the things that bring back her humanity and allow her to ultimately sacrifice herself. I don't think Janine gets out of this thing alive. She has way too much trauma. She's going to martyr herself at some point. I think and this is total theories, I have no idea, but this is what I'm predicting based on what I'm seeing. When they do go to leave Jezebel's, I believe Janine will ultimately sacrifice herself to make that thing possible.
The amount of times this show has almost killed Janine.
It's final season.
It is. So
there's going to be some bows thrown out there.
That's the only reason why I think she may end up getting killed off, is because it is the final season. But earlier I said that she was weak. What I mean by that is she was overly sensitive to everything. She's empath. I mean, let's be real. This was America, and you get used to comfortable living. And when everything's stripped away, yeah, you're going to be weak. I would be weak like that too.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's that whole adaptation phase of every new environment.
Yeah.
Whether you're moving or
be difficult, yeah.
When the whole landscape of politics and your livelihood and freaking everything just gets upended.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't, like I said, when I first started watching, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of like, what would that be like? And I can't, right? Because I don't understand. Like, what would life be like if I woke up tomorrow and I didn't even have the right for my words to even mean anything? Because that's what happens to the women in this society. Like, they go from published authors and scholars and, regular, like what we understand to be, common today, to nobodies, Marthas and worse. And so it's like, shit, I couldn't even understand. So, and even the ones who are, like Serena, who are in positions of power, are not even in positions of power. They're just figureheads.
What did I tell you about her, though?
Oh, a lot of what we talked about in the last episode is ultimately coming true. And I really appreciate everyone, again, in the comments backing up a lot of what you said with how, like, this is a new behavior for her. Like, she definitely has been a figure of evil. She not a leading force, but a pawn in it for many seasons. And this is kind of a new light for her to be standing up for women and kind of leading the charge and being the figurehead. But what I'm noticing, and what we talked about, is Commander Wharton there is most definitely infatuated with her and is going to, one, manipulate her like he's currently doing and bring her into ultimately being his wife. And then once he does have her as the wife, he's basically going to shut her back down and put her back where he believes she belongs, which the high commanders what they said, they all have the same. To make it into high command, you have to have the same mentality. Basically, women are nothing but pawns. It's all about breeding, fertility, or whatever they said. Yeah.
So she's going to be yet again put in a position where she needs to make a choice to do the right thing over the wrong thing, or self-preservation typically. And I'm sorry, I do not see her putting herself above anything else aside from her kid.
Yeah.
And I think her kid becomes the new reason why she allows herself to just go along and get along.
Yeah. So there's so many factors right now that I'm trying to keep in account for like what's in play, right? Because one, I do believe that High Commander Wharton, because he is also a high commander, is going to manipulate and marry Serena and use her to be a pawn. I do believe that there's going to become a tipping point where she has to make a choice again. And whether she chooses to selfishly preserve herself or actually stand up for what's right, we'll see. Based on history, not necessarily leaning towards doing what's right. But we also have Nick's stuck in a loveless marriage to a man who he only bows down to because he has to. And there's going to become a point where I think June either gets involved or there's something with the love of June that gets involved where he sees it to be advantageous to take out Commander Wharton and remove himself from that life.
I could see that.
Which would be the only way Serena gets out from making the bad decision, and then not the only way, but the main way Serena could get out from making the bad decision, and how New Bethlehem could actually become the actual foundation of a new America instead of just the mask of the cover for what's already existing, just because that's what they're trying to do right now, right? They're like, oh, this is the place that's all great.
Makeup.
But yeah, they're putting makeup on a pig, right? So, but it's really still just the old regime, old mindset. just kind of lightly covered up. And they're allowing Commander Lawrence to kind of do this new thing so that they can get better appeal from the other nations. But that's it. They don't really care.
I'm curious, in the comments, who would you rather June end up with? Would you rather her end up with her husband or Nick? Which team are you on? Which time are you on?
You know, from having just watched 4 episodes now and a 20-minute recap, I vote more for Nick. But that also is because, like, when June is in the shit, when she's going through the hardship, it's Nick who's there for her. Nick's the one who saves her. Nick's the one that does the real, like, I could get myself killed for this shit, but I love you, I'm going to do it anyway kind of stuff. Like he says, like, whenever I'm around you, I'm doing stupid shit I could get myself killed for. Like, it's ridiculous. But I also see that the husband has a deep love for her. And
he does.
Ultimately, like, his driving force right now is getting the daughter back, right? So he's blinded by the fact, well, he's not blinded because he definitely admits that one miracle did happen and she's alive and he's got her back, but that we need to keep going and get the daughter. Yeah, I don't think Luke makes it at all. I don't think Nick's going to make it. I don't think June makes it, honestly. I don't think any, like I told you, if you haven't seen it, my previous prediction, I don't think any of the current adults make it. I think it's their children who ultimately carry the torch on. Like, Hannah will be like the new Serena, the new figurehead of what's actually possible and what they really want.
That's crazy, a thing too, that it would be June's daughter to be the figurehead.
Well, why else would they? I mean, I don't know, right? I haven't read the book. This is based on books, right? Like, they're books that these are based on? Yeah. So I have no previous context knowledge.
Book from the 80s.
Interesting. Maybe I have to check it out when this is all said and done. But yeah, I think for some reason, with all the trauma, anytime we've watched movies where someone survives this level of trauma, they're never the same. And in real life, they're never the same, right? Like, the trauma truly will change a person. And I think for the world to move on and heal, it's the next generation that does that. It's not the ones who are hurt. It's they reflect on and hear from what had happened and they live through it as well, but they don't get to, and then they move on with it.
Okay. Like, oh, hi, Commander Lawrence. What do you think of his growth? I want to hear your opinion first so I can add the additional context.
Yeah.
So what did you think of the whole scene with him and the kid and where he's at? And because we just got done in the last episode prior to this one, we talked about it. He's not a true believer.
Right.
And yet he kind of just sucked it up so that he could get that advancement this time.
Yeah.
Right. We know he's not a true believer. We know he's done some really good things for the Resistance in the past. We also know he's done some really bad things against them. He's just floating this line where he's going back and forth for who he's serving today. And a lot of that aligns with his self-interest. But this episode, the way they portrayed him was more to the original character that we saw way back when we first got introduced to him, before we thought he could do no wrong. So what do you think of him?
He's idealistic. He sees a better future, but he's also a coward and he has instincts for self-preservation. And so when you lay it out that way, his actions make a lot of sense. In his mind, he knows what's right and he knows what he wants, but he doesn't have the backbone or the heart to follow through with it every time, right? He wants to stay alive. He wants to stay in power. He wants to live a good life, but he also wants to be able to enact change and not have to live in a archaic society. However, I don't necessarily know, because I didn't watch all the seasons, I don't know some of the evil things that he has done. The lens and light I see him through right now is like he is only in a position of power because he knows that by being in a position of power, one, he's safe, and two, it's the only place he can actually make a difference. Because in his house, there is no ceremony until they made him have a ceremony. And the way he operates and does things, women have more of a say, children have more of a right. Like, there's more of his house that has more of the sense of like an America than like everything else that's going around.
Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I'm pretty sure the only time he's done like the bad stuff was only for self-preservation reasons.
Yeah, and I get that from him. Like, that's like, he's not an evil man, but he's a coward. And I say coward in the fact that, like, there is a very rare person who, in the face of death, of like fear of death, will stand their ground and really hold their value. Most people are going to do what it takes to stay alive. And that's just what he does. Yeah.
The relationship between him and the child was very important.
Yeah, I don't see many of the other commanders having a relationship with the children, which is why I think in his house it's more like the traditional America.
I think the kid is the surrogate for his wife, to replace all the love and affection he had for his wife, to redirect it to someplace new. And we now know that's probably the only reason why he married this woman, was so the kid would be there.
Yeah. She tried to kiss him and he walked away. It was pretty funny.
She was so upset about that.
Yeah.
She was hurt.
She was definitely hurt. Yeah.
June and Luke and what's her face have a mission that they're going on.
Moira.
Moira. I keep getting that mixed up because of Mayfair.
Have you ever seen Orange is the New Black on Netflix?
No.
Moira is one of the inmates. She plays a lesbian inmate in that show. And I just, like, when I see her on this show, I can't get that character out of my head. So I'm like, she's acting weird. I don't know.
And then we have Maureen from Wheel of Time. So the M words for women's names is kind of difficult to keep straight in my head right now.
Yeah.
The three of them, we briefly talked about June's role in that. Moira wants to go back and make amends to herself, in my opinion, for all the things that she endured there, and when she had her moments of cowardice.
Yeah.
And Luke obviously only wants to go there because he's been a blundering idiot every time he's attempted to help in any real kind of way like this. And he's come a lot into his own through these fuck-ups, but he's also been getting better, which just shows experience, right? And so I really hope he surprises us here.
Yeah. It's his moment.
Yes.
Yeah, we jumped between New Bethlehem and Canada quite a bit in this episode, just building up those two stories and where they're going. And a lot of it is laying the foundation for the big bombing and attack on the commanders, because that's two separate missions as far as I understand it. One, they're going to sneak into Jezebel's and kill the commanders while they are predisposed and drunk. And the other one is Luke has bombs that he's going to be putting in certain destinations, predetermined, and then blow those things up.
I think it'd be cool if Lawrence never goes to that meeting and he's the sole survivor.
Of the commanders that you're talking about? Well, we shall see.
What do you guys think?
He only went because they forced him to go. They kind of called him out. And so he went.
But June and him also have a weird relationship as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see how June chooses to act in this.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of choices.
She snaps sometimes. Other times she's like bits and bears it. Whatever the saying is, I can't think of it right now. Words hard.
Words hard.
Words hard. Tough. Is Janine gonna die?
I think so.
Next episode?
I don't know. Whenever the actual attack on Jezebel's is, that's when it will happen. I don't know if it will happen next episode or the next episode after that, but whenever that actual attack on the commanders happens, I believe that will be when Janine becomes the martyr.
They don't have time to play it out because this is the final season, so I'm hoping it's going to be a lot sooner than later, because I don't know what they're going to do if they wait for that to be like near the last episodes.
Yeah, I don't know.
But we'll see.
We shall. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments. Really appreciate you making it all the way to the end of this video. If you really enjoyed this video, we actually have playlists about them. There's the first one right here that we've been doing. There's another one right down here, and there's one right above my head that YouTube says, based on your browsing history, you would really like. So go check it out. But no matter what, make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode. My name's Chris.
Liam.
And we'll see you on that video. Peace. Words hard.
Yeah.
Find the strength hiding in each battle scar. You're not who you were. You've already come far.